Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're gonna go over the diet that I followed to get to the physiques shown in this video's thumbnail. The diet's gonna be called the volume diet. I came up with this diet in 2022. I'm not actually as lean right now as I was then. Although I ultimately designed this diet on my own, a lot of the inspiration did come from a content creator you're probably already familiar with. His name is Greg Doucette. A lot of the concepts that he talked about I took and I put into practice, but I actually developed specific meal plans. I made a few tweaks for things that I didn't necessarily agree with. For this video, we're going to keep things high level, but for subsequent videos, I'm going to be showing you guys actual recipes that I used to get to that physique in the thumbnail using the volume diet. The basic strategy is this, and if you've seen my other videos, you know that I've been teaching keto. This is a diet that I would use for people that are on the more athletic side that are ready for an advanced diet that's going to be able to get them from that 10 to 15% body fat range and push that down to the single digits. I still do believe the keto diet is ideal for the everyday person, but this is a specific meal plan designed for people that are training very hard already and they need that extra push to be able to get the single digit body fat, whether that's going to be for bodybuilding shows or perhaps they just have very ambitious aesthetic goals. Here's going to be the simple breakdown. So if you know me from my other videos, you're already going to see right off the bat there's some major differences that this has from keto. And here at the top, we both have high protein and high fiber, while keeping carbs in the medium range. The reason for this is because on a diet like this, those carbs are going to really come in handy around training time. The carbohydrates are still on a medium range to low status, so that doesn't mean that you're just gorging carbs all day, but it does mean that you want to have your carbs based around when you're going to be working out so that you are able to get the most out of your workout while still being in a pretty strict calorie deficit. Now this diet does have some pros and cons. Let's hit the cons first. It's going to be a harder diet for someone to follow that doesn't already have a lot of experience in this space. You're almost certainly going to need a food scale if you're going to have any chance surviving on this. And not only that, but you're probably also going to need a calorie tracking app. The other downside also being that you're going to have to spend a lot of time learning how to read labels so that you can find out which foods do have the hidden pitfalls that are going to keep you from losing weight. But the plus sides are many. The biggest pro by far is that the high volume diet, it allows you to eat a lot of food. That's why it's called volume. The whole idea is to fill your plate with as low calorie foods as possible that also take up as much space as possible. This is where the high protein and the high fiber come from. On this plan, you might find yourself having as much as 100 grams of fiber per day. I do recommend taking an acclimating approach before diving headfirst into this. 100 grams of fiber is going to wreck your stomach if you're not ready for it. That could also be another con of this program. But once you do get acclimated, your body will be able to handle that fiber and some of the painful experiences that come from that, specifically heavy bloating and heavy gas, it does subside if you do eat the same foods on a regular basis. And in general, I do try to avoid fiber from vegetables. So that does mean, at least for me personally, broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts are all going to be out of the picture, at least for me. Some people might not have that problem, but I do. Another major advantage of doing the volume diet, it does allow you to have a wide variety of foods if you're clever enough to find alternative ingredients to things that we commonly have. Some examples of this would be finding zucchini noodles instead of spaghetti noodles, or, I hate to say it, cauliflower pizza crust over regular pizza crust. Remember, I did just say that I'm not the biggest vegetable guy, so for me, some of these things are already limited, but not everybody has the digestion problems. I do. You'd have to kind of experiment with certain things and find out what you like. But you can make a lot of meals very low calorie by alternating the ingredients and swapping out something that has high fiber, medium carbs, and very low fat. And this is going to allow you to keep your calories at either 2,000 or even below and still allow you to actually eat very large quantities of food so that you're not feeling like you're starving yourself all the time. But do be warned, your body isn't tricked very easily. If you do go into dangerously low calories, despite the fact that you might feel full in the moment, your body is going to know if it's not getting enough nutrients. So that's why this is an advanced program where you still need to be able to figure out how to get all the things that your body requires to optimally operate and still keep things low calorie, but allows you to have a little bit of fun along the way. Let's take a look at a sample diet to see what this might look like. So let's say we've got a friend, his name is Steve. Our friend Steve is a 200-pound, 5'11" man. As you can see, Steve's already probably in pretty good shape. Being at 5'11 and 200 pounds, he's probably already strong, but he wants to get leaner, he wants to get visible abs. Let's put together a program that might get Steve down to 180. Firstly, I'd start Steve off with a target goal of 200 grams of protein. I would tell Steve that he can go higher than this. I would recommend that he does not go below. Protein has a high upper limit. You can really substitute carbohydrates for more protein as much as you want, all the way up to actually going down to 0 carb, and you could really have, if you really wanted to, 400 grams of protein per day. I personally wouldn't recommend it, and that'd be very expensive to follow, but it's a potential option for people out there that really want to just have the protein be that high. Let's take a look at how many carbohydrates he'll have. On a plan like this, I do like to keep the protein and carbs as close to 50-50 as I can. If I'm going to allow one of these to overtake the other, I'm always going to pick the more protein over the more carbs. Well, the carbs really do come in handy when working out, especially if you're doing long bouts of cardio. Maybe with weight training, it's not as big of a deal. Lastly, for fat, we're going to keep the fats pretty low on this program. 50 grams of fat, in my opinion, is good. I've seen some people say to go as low as 30. In my opinion, that might be taking things a little bit too low. But if you're a man, you actually can get away with being low fat for long periods of time, but I personally am not going below 50. 50 grams will keep you from having to worry about things like thyroid problems. It's going to help you maintain the male hormones that are so coveted by our gender. You don't want to be having your testosterone tank while you're on this. Having that fat and a little bit of vitamin D is going to go a long way at preventing those types of issues. Now, this is a sample meal plan for Steve. He would have to adjust this by a little bit as he loses weight, but in general, this is going to do pretty well for him. At 200 grams of protein and 200 grams of carbs, he's coming out to 1,600 calories from those two combined. And then with the fats, he's getting 450, which means he's going to be totaling out to 2,050 calories. This is actually a pretty strict diet for Steve, but there's just enough carbohydrates in here that means he's going to be able to do his cardio. What I would recommend for Steve is that he does enough cardio to a total expenditure of 3,000 calories per day. That includes his basal metabolic rate and doing his daily activities. He's going to either walk or do some sort of cardio in his spare time to get to that 3,000. He can go over 3,000 if he wants to, but it's going to make life a little bit more difficult. Why put yourself into hard mode if you don't have to? Maybe if he has a bodybuilding show coming up and he has been slacking on cardio, you do what you gotta do. But if you're just trying to get aesthetic over a slow period of time, a 1,000 calorie deficit, that's gonna be about your ceiling for the day. You don't really want to be going beyond that if you don't have to. So from a concept level, that's the volume diet. You're picking high protein foods and you're comboing them up with things that have high fiber in them so that you're able to fill your plate with as much food as possible. In the near future, I'm going to be showcasing meals that help you get to that point. It's what I use to get so incredibly lean, all the way down to 5% body fat when I was training for bodybuilding shows. What you really want to do is take some kind of meat and combo it up with some kind of high fiber carbohydrate. I'm just going to throw out a few simple examples. We'll get more in depth in future videos. So just some easy meals. This will get you the idea of what we're working with here. It's going to be things like ground beef and peas, Greek yogurt and berries, cottage cheese, regular pancake mix with lots of protein powder. This one's a personal favorite. You get canned chicken, mix it with Greek yogurt, and mix that with hot sauce. You can make your own buffalo chicken dip this way. Super high protein, almost no fat, very little carbs. Down here below, we've got egg whites plus a low-calorie bread. You can make your own French toast this way. As an honorable mention, you can make your own protein ice cream simply with protein powder, ice cubes, a little bit of xanthan gum, and a lot of berries in the blender. You can make super low calorie ice cream this way, and I'll have a video out on that very soon. The final thing you're going to need to really make something like the volume diet work, you have to have a food scale, you have to use it, and you've got to have a calorie tracking app. I personally use MyFitnessPal, but if some of you guys out there are able to find a calorie tracker that doesn't cost money, all the more power to you. And in fact, if you find one, let me know. I'd be happy to use it myself. Paying $80 a year for MyFitnessPal, it used to be free. Anyways, using this is going to be a big deal. With MyFitnessPal, they have a barcode scanner. What I recommend is finding foods that you're going to eat repeatedly, save them in MyFitnessPal so that you don't have to continuously keep going and scanning the barcode or weighing it out with the food scale. Of course, you do need to weigh it that first time, but let's say that you've made, a bowl of Greek yogurt and some blueberries in a regular bowl in your house. You know what your own bowls look like. Log the Greek yogurt, log the blueberries, save them as a meal in MyFitnessPal, and then from that point forward, when you go to have that meal, instead of having to weigh it out every time, you can go to MyFitnessPal, just hit the meal and add it in there. It's not going to be perfect 100% of the time as far as calorie tracking goes, but it gets you close enough. Of course, you could always just weigh it out every single time. That way you're really going to know your numbers. I know for some people, weighing your food and doing it this way, it can be kind of daunting. A lot of people don't want to do it. That's why I recommend saving them as the meal. Make things easier on yourself, but you still need to put in some effort if you're going to want this to work. This is an advanced plan that I would use to get down to 5% body fat and still be able to maintain some level of athleticism. As much as I like keto, there's going to be performance drop off once you get into that 10 to 15% body fat range. That's going to make it really hard to do the cardio that you need to do to get to 5% body fat. So this is going to be a meal plan that is going to really help get somebody to that goal. I'm going to be making a lot of videos in the near future to cover this. If you liked my keto content, all those videos are still available. And I'm not saying I'm never doing keto again, but I do want to showcase another style of diet. That way people with different situations and problems can come to my channel and find solutions for them. There's no one size fits all, and there's no cookie cutter diet that's going to work for every single person and solve every problem. Instead, what I want you to be equipped with is as many diets and the knowledge about different strategies as possible, so that as you move through your own fitness journey, you're able to adapt to new circumstances and move yourself along and become a better athlete. If you want to get a hold of me, I have my link tree below. I'm also going to put my email address right here on the screen. You can set up a consultation, find out what works for you. And if you want to take things to the next level, of course, you can also hire me directly as your coach. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure to like it and hit the subscribe button. And if I could ask you for one more favor, could you share this video to one other person? Even if you don't feel comfortable doing that, if you could share this video even to yourself. These metrics do really great things to help me grow this channel so that I can reach more people. We're going to wrap things up here. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. I've got some recipes coming your way you're not going to want to miss. See you guys soon. Peace.